Follow us on Twitter, INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
All right, y'all.
We're
back.
Well, you think
Great
we had
minds.
coordinated that?
Great minds, I tell you.
Rick, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Coach. Happy New Year, Mick and Rick fans. INSiiGHTS fans. What's happening, folks? 2024, we made it.
Yes, we did, Rick. There was always some doubt because you never know.
Never know, Coach. You just never know. You never know.
Oh, man. Rick, it seems like we've been gone forever. It just seems like we've been gone forever, man.
Forever and a day, but for good things, man. It's a reason why we've been gone. And that's a good thing because it's not like we've been resting on our laurels. You know, we've been doing work.
We've been doing work. That's absolutely correct, brother. That's absolutely correct. And in the meantime, and in between time, does the sports world slow down at all, Rick?
Hell no. No way. No how. No. It keeps on going and going and going.
And that's one reason we both have been so drawn to athletics. It tends to be able to take your mind out of everything else that's going on. For the most part, you get tested sometimes with some craziness, but we are gonna cover that. Yes, sir. We gonna do that. Rick, did you get something for us that we didn't know?
Yes, I did, Coach. Did you know out of all the years in the NFL, there's only been one kicker to win MVP?
Not Jan Stenerud.
No, not Stenerud and not Janikowski and all. A blast from my past. Mark Mosley in 1983, 82-83 season, made 31 field goals in a row, was named NFL in MVP. Hold on, I know what's missing, Coach. It's been so long. Hold on for a second. Let me. I gotta.
Oh Lord! I thought maybe the new year you was gonna, that cup was gonna be by itself.
I'm back. Yes. Now I'm back. Now I'm back in stride again now. Yeah, so Mark Mosley is the only kicker to win NFL MVP. That's what I got for you, bro.
Oh, and who was he kicking for?
He was the straight on kicker, one of them kickers who didn't go to the side. He just kicked straight on for the then Washington Redskins.
I wondered how you remembered that. I wondered how you remembered that.
I don't know. He helped us win the Super Bowl. That's the first Super Bowl, actually, in the franchise's history. So there's some things you don't forget.
It's some things you don't forget. I'm completely with you on that, Rick. I'm completely with you on that. Hey, Sports Diva. Coach, the reporter. Coach, Rick been in that cook. He can't get his words out.
No. In fact, Sports Diva, I wasn't in the cup. That's why I couldn't get the words out. Now that I have everything back, the words will be flowing.
The words will start flowing in.
Yeah, just like the drinks on New Year's Eve. They flow. They tend to flow.
Oh, Rick. Boy, you Rick, you be on it for real here.
Hey, man, I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. I feel good. It feels good to be back amongst the peoples. The peoples. They love us.
Now, they have been wondering when we coming back. They want to know what is going on with Slick Rick. I mean, they have been missing you. I've been getting some calls and texts and people wanting to know what's up with Rick. When we gonna get Rick back on? They ask about me. They want to know what about Rick. I say,
but they've been seeing you, Coach. They've been seeing you on Wednesdays. They've been seeing you covering live future stars, the future college stars, future NBA stars, future doctors, lawyers, teachers, fathers, mothers, everywhere.
And there's some truth to that, because we covered the Capital City Classic and we covered it all day. We were there from 9:30 to 9:30. I mean, we covered it. We saw some excellent high school basketball. We sent some stuff out to some coaches to let them know, what was going on with some of these guys that they may need to see and keep an eye on, because that's our baby, high school sports. We get caught up with some other things, but high school sports is kind of what we do. And we got some stuff coming up later in the show. Some things about the NLI, and then we have some more information about the high school coach, the high school players, and the portal. All of that is getting ready to come up. So we got some things. We're trying to make sure people are aware of what's going on, especially for these student athletes. So that's kind of what we do, Rick. That's it.
That's right, because, hey, Coach, I mean, hashtag what? It's for the kids.
Right.
It's for the kids, and that's what we were founded on. We're not going to forget that, ever. We're never going to forget that.
Exactly. Right. You're exactly right. Rick.
Coach.
What's going on? When we last on, we did our hot takes. We talked about the craziness at that time with FSU and not getting a bid, and we tried to tell people that there was some issues. We saw that coming. That margin for them being number 4. Yeah, it was getting smaller and smaller. And there were some interesting things that we want to discuss. The rumor was out one time Florida State wasn't even going to play or go to the Orange Blossom Classic, that the guys didn't want to go. And that type of craziness. Rick, what is your thought on the Orange Blossom Classic and the Orange Bowl and the participation and the University of Georgia and all of that?
Yeah, see, we knew once they got snubbed that there was going to be some issues, and we talked about the political side trying to get in and all of that, which was nonsense. But they had to play the game, because if they would have forfeited, what precedent would that have set? You cannot say no to a bowl game. So what did the players do? Or players who had a choice? Some of them sat out, which not just at FSU. Let's make that perfectly clear. A lot of players in the non-playoff 4 sat out for reasons, saying they're getting ready for the pros. They don't want to get hurt. Blah,
but
blah,
not
blah.
Many sat out from UGA.
No, they did not. And why? because Kirby has them like that. They are. They knew. Georgia knew, and Georgia knows they'll be back. And probably the SEC told them they better not mess around.
Mm-hmm.
FSU, on the other hand, they acted the 24 plus players who sat out. Some of it was legit, but wow, it seemed like they didn't show up at all. It was. I felt bad, and I don't feel bad for coaches too much, because that's their jobs. But Mike Norvell, what could he do? He tried to keep them together. He tried to be positive, and that was just that display they put on. That said it all. That told me the players did not want to be there. It told me that the respect they have for their coach, ultimately, and for the program. And it was I thought it was a selfish act, personally.
Well, Sports Diva chimed in. She said she called them whining. I think she misspelled it, but whining asked FSU they were not ready for any major program. FSU players quit on their coach.
And I hate saying that. Being a former athlete, seeing coaches, I hate saying that players quit. Because it goes against everything you believe as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But the proof is in the pudding. And as a former NFL player, Warren Sapp used to say, tape don't lie. And if you watch that tape, there's a lot of half-assing going on in that game. A lot of it. And it showed it on the scoreboard.
Well, it created a issue in my house. And especially with my athletic daughters, all three of them who played sports. And the comment came up between husband and wife and about their sons and growing up and playing sports. Would you have allowed them to play or not play? And the male in the house said, if my son was a top 100 player, then he wouldn't play. He'd sit out. And that was just a reflection on everybody. It wasn't really at Florida State, but just reflection on everybody. Mm-hmm. As Sports Diva says, she agrees with you that tape showed they weren't ready. But my daughter said, you got to finish what you start. And we had a guy from the show, Rob Deloach. And let me say this right off the bat. The relationship that he has with his sons and with his daughter is exemplary. I admire what he does and the influence that he's had on. And then they said that there was only one player that was one starter on the defensive unit. And when they called off the name, it wasn't Deloach. So I was a little surprised, but okay. But as the game went on, I heard that he was playing. And Mr. Deloach said, you got to start what you finished. And I said, wow, that's the same thing that my daughter said. So they asked me, and I was like, I'm an old coach. And you can't really make them play, but you hope that you built a strong enough relationship that almost a third of your team opts not to play. Okay, you were upset. We didn't get in, but let's finish this with a bang. They don't have 25 players that's getting ready to get drafted. So I felt like they should have played as well. And as a result, it was almost if they were trying to send a message to who I don't know. But, you can't send it to the NCAA because they've already made their decision and you get
they don't
like
care.
That. Right. It kind of justifies to them that you shouldn't have been there anyway.
Exactly. Exactly, Coach. That's the point right there. You proved that they were right by not inviting you to the top four because of that performance right there. The first quarter looked like, hey, okay, they're battling. Everyone knew you were going to lose. Heck, you were 20-point underdogs. To give that kind of effort, Coach.
But see, they're 20-point underdogs because most people were hearing they weren't going to play. And then, I could be wrong, but I thought I saw some of those guys on the sideline. You know, and I hope I'm wrong because I would not have done that. They would not have traveled with me if they didn't play. That's a given. They would not have done that.
Now I will say this, Coach. I will say this. Top 100. If you're projected to be in the top 100 of the draft, that's the top 3 rounds. I can understand if you don't have insurance against that. At the same time, though, I believe in finishing what you. I believe in not quitting. I believe in once you start something, you have to see it through. That is just something I was brought up on. That is something I believe. That is something I've tried to teach my kids. But I mean, this is a new generation. This is a new era, which I am totally lost and out of to see that. So it doesn't surprise me if they were on the sidelines, Coach. It wouldn't have surprised me.
It wouldn't have surprised you.
No, not in. It's a new era. That's just what they do now.
We say, Rick, that's just what they do now.
I'm starting to sound like my dad. Oh my gosh.
You saying that's not always a good thing, huh?
I'll drink to that.
Now, what about the FAMU situation?
First of all, I would like to congratulate the Rattlers on winning the Celebration Bowl. Going through the SWAC undefeated and handling business. You were favored from the start and you took it and ran and you handled business. Congratulations, fam. For Coach Simmons, I wish him well. Any coach, and this reminds me of the Deion Sanders situation, even though it's a little more closer to home. That it is closer to home. It is home, and it affects the squad that I love. But when you're coaching, any coach, I believe, that doesn't have ties, strong ties, or not even ties, but that didn't graduate from the university.
Okay.
Wants to compete at FAMU is not their destination spot. It is a stepping stone to something greater in their eyes.
Okay.
And we've heard in the past that Coach Simmons has gotten offers to go elsewhere. He chose to stay. And so I do not begrudge him for taking this offer. Yes, it's a running back coach. And people say, why is he leaving for a running back position? It's not just the money. It's the relationship with Coach Diaz, who's coming over to coach Duke. They coached together at Middle Tennessee State. And I think relationships matter. And also it's an avenue, Coach Simmons believes, to what he hopes is a Power 5 job, head coaching job. And if you look at the history of HBCUs, unfortunately, not too many head coaches from HBCUs get head coaching jobs at Power 5 conferences. So, taking this route, he believes in a year or two, hopefully he can become a coordinator, offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator at a Power 5 or at Duke.
I need you to slow your roll for a minute. You made a comment that you said it was a lot like Deion and Jackson State.
Yeah.
And I beg to differ that it's not close. And the reason I say that is Deion left to go to a Power 5 institution as the head coach.
Yes.
And that in itself is a significant difference. And part of it, I'm first, let me say this. A man has to make the choices that he thinks is best for himself and his family. Let me put that out there first. Congratulations to what he did to bring the program back. I see you, sports diva. It's the money. I see that. I understand that. And I'm glad that we won the Celebration Bowl. I'm glad we won the SWAC Championship, all of that. Him leaving, I'm old school FAMU.
Yes.
If you want to be somewhere else, then we wish you good luck. Thank you for your service. We appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. We appreciate it. The athletic department was able to get some people in. They were able to promote the program within the athletic department, get increased revenue. Try being the head of the booster club with a program that's not winning. When you're not winning, people don't want to give money. But when you're winning, they want to be a part of it. So it's an easier sell, and it did a lot for the institution, brought more students in. No doubt about it. But to go as the running back coach, and that's fine. If that's the path you want to take, where does it put you in terms of trying to get where you want to be, even as an offensive coordinator? It's going to take you some years to be able to do that. Because the offensive coordinator is the next step to being the head coach.
Right.
So it's some things that have to happen for that to be a reality for him. And he has to be in a position where the head coach does exceptionally well and the program does exceptionally well for him to be able to be considered to move up into that situation, because we don't get a lot of chances. We don't get a lot of opportunities.
True.
And
True, Coach.
so, for him, he's going to have to get it from the running back position, and that's just hard. A lot of times you make a decision.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, Coach,
No,
but suppose the offensive coordinator stinks. Now, I said that Manny Diaz and Coach Simmons has a good relationship.
Right.
So he could move up that way, and not wishing bad on any coaches or anything like that. But I'm saying there is a different avenue. He might not have to wait his time and go somewhere else. It might, or the offensive coordinator could leave. You're right, though, when you say that a lot of things have to happen for him to move up to eventually even be considered for a Power 5 head coaching job. Having said that, Coach, I want to ask you this. Do you think it was something else? Was it something underlying? Is it something behind the scenes that Joe fan may not know about?
Well, it's always a lot of rumors with everything. There's something that's true, I don't know, and speculation exists with sports and athletics is second nature. So, but it's hard for me to say on that. I try to keep it straight, no chaser, but I just don't know that. But that would be something only he and the administration would know. It's hard that it would be a lot of too much of anything else because of how successful they have been. And that if it was something like that, I think that somebody would have tried to make a decision on that before that even happened. They don't try to let you go of your own volition like that. So I doubt that it's something else. But you never know. But I would doubt that it's something else. But if it is, then he made a good decision to get out ahead of ahead of that. But he has to be able to do the things that he thinks is best for him, and that's a gamble now. That's a gamble to be able to do what he's doing and go up that ladder or go back on the ladder. And see, what I try to do when people talk about promotions and different jobs, I always tell them to reverse it. And they say, what do you mean by reverse it? I said, if you were the running back coach at South Carolina or wherever, would you leave there to become the head coach at Florida A&M? If the answer is yes, then you didn't make a forward step.
Mm.
But that job to me, I mean, that's just how I've tried to train my family, and I've tried to, my daughters, my students that have been around me when we talk about opportunities, and people say you have an opportunity to do this and you got a job offer here. Would you leave that job offer to come here? If you would leave that job to come here, then you're making the wrong choice. Unless there was something else. And I'm just saying that would not be the way that I would be trying to think of it to do.
It's, as a fan, as an alumnus, it sucks. It sucks because you've seen the progression of this team. You've seen us at the bottom, not being able to, having wins vacated and not being able to go to playoffs and winning MEAC titles.
But on the other side, Rick, now he's going out on top.
I know. That's why.
If you're gonna go, you're gonna go. You need to go now after winning the championship, as opposed to last year or the year before last. You go out as a champion.
Agreed. And that's why that's why I have mixed feelings, because as a fan, I don't want him to go.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, this is what you feel is best for you in your career. Hey, I do wish him well, and I hope he has success at Duke, a school I don't like, ABCDS, anybody but Carolina, Duke, or Syracuse. It just, gosh. So where do we go from here?
That's the $1 million question. One thing I learned from Bill Hayes, who I learned a lot from, he always, when he was thinking about doing something with his basketball coach. And he said, Coach, I need you to research. You're more knowledgeable in basketball than I am, and I need you to come back with 5 names of potential hires. I want you to have reached out to them, talked to them. I want them to find out how much it would take, what do they need to build their program, and I need you to have all the parameters for me. He said, now, if it's football, I don't need your ass to do that, because I know the football. I know who I'm going to, football. But I don't know basketball as well as you do, which you have to admire an AD who understands his strengths and weaknesses and relies on somebody else to be able to fill those for him. And so I said, Coach, first of all, you thinking about moving on somebody? And they said, well, how many championships have they won? And I said, none. He said, how many did they play for? I said, none. He said, well, isn't this FloridaA&M? Don't you play for championships? Isn't A&M's history to win championships? I shut up. I didn't say anything else. See, Bill was a astute man. He didn't always deliver his stuff in the way that FAMU fans wanted him to. But he worked on that. I mean, so he said every coach worth his salt has a short list of coaches that he could replace for every head coach in his program. Any coach worth their salt. And I said, okay, Coach, I got you. I got you.
And it makes sense. He was proactive. He always thought ahead, because the only thing that's certain, especially in coaching life, is death and taxes.
Now,
Coaches are. One coach told me that coaches are hired to be fired.
Absolutely.
Which I thought it just blew my mind when he said that. And I said, wow. You're right. I mean, how many coaches stay at one institution for so long?
Exactly. Now, keeping the program moving along, we have a special that we have worked on. And this ties into what we're saying. FloridaA&M had an inordinate number of local high school football players that were key contributors to this SWAC championship and national HBCU championship. So everybody just kind of see this a little bit.
FloridaA&M University National Championship Football Team. Today, we're diving into the exciting world of FloridaA&M University's 2023 football roster, featuring local talents from Tallahassee who were positive contributors on this historical SWAC championship team. But before we jump into it, make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button to show some love for your Rattlers and for this type of Insights programming. Have been in your living rooms as part of Insights' commitment to the Panhandle and South Georgia in our Game of the Week football telecast. Let's meet the stars of the show, the local standouts from Tallahassee. Our journey begins with Javan Morgan, a graduate student with an inspiring story from Florida to the success of the championship Rattler football squad. Now, let's shift our focus to Gadsden County High School's rising star, Zaire Riley, a redshirt freshman with tremendous potential. Representing Leon High School, Andrew Ritter is waiting to showcase his skills on the collegiate stage. Hailing from Maclay High, Michael Smith is gearing up for an exciting college football journey. Finally, Tyler Pye, transferring from Blinn College, adds experience and depth to the Rattlers roster. Kelvin Dean, Marcus Riley, Myron Ward, Michael Townsend, Gabriel Nance are the Fantastic Five from Rickards High School, each adding a unique flavor to the Rattlers roster. Rickards boasts the highest number of players from this championship roster with 5. Godby is the next highest with 4. Kelvin Dean was a powerhouse on the fields and was a part of the outstanding depth at the running back position. He was a redshirt senior and transferred from Florida Atlantic University. He was a multi-sport athlete at Rickards playing varsity football and basketball. Marcus Riley was another gem from Rickards High and was known for his speed, quickness, and game-breaking ability. His presence on the team added a dynamic element to the Rattlers' offense and special teams. Marcus was a graduate student as he transferred from in-state Bethune-Cookman University. Marcus was a 3-star recruit who started his collegiate career as a scholarship student-athlete at the University of Louisville. Marcus was selected as a preseason second-team All-SWAC and achieved that. Moving on to Godby High School, we have Jacques Yant, a redshirt junior who's set to make waves with his explosive plays. Jacques was a preferred walk-on at the University of Nebraska and was awarded a football scholarship soon after arriving. Trey Fisher is a quarterback transfer from UT Martin, brings experience and skill to the Rattlers. He's from a football family with a high football IQ. Nicholas Dixon, a graduate student from Godby High, is a seasoned player with a track record worth exploring. Nick exploded onto the scene during the championship season and got well-deserved playing opportunities. We have Kamari Young, a complete player who made his mark on the Rattlers. This tight end left many Rattler fans remembering his solid contributions. The FloridaA&M University 2023 football roster is packed with local talent from Tallahassee, each player bringing their own unique skills and stories to the Rattlers. The significance of recruiting these student athletes goes beyond the game, strengthening the connection between the university and the community. Stay tuned for more updates and exciting moments from your FloridaA&M Rattlers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep up with all the various programming brought to you by Insights. Until next time, we are signing off. Remember to follow Insights on Insights Roku and on our Insights mobile apps on your Android or iPhone.
Got to give that lady a job. So smooth with it. She's just so smooth with it. Hey, but she was right though. That tightens the bond between Tallahassee, the city, and FAMU when you're able to recruit in your own backyard and have the success that they had. Other players are watching because players are always watching, and they know that you can come back home and have success. So, great job. Great job.
Thank you, Sports Diva. Thank you, Rick. We just learning and figuring out that AI, when we weren't on, that doesn't mean we wasn't working.
Aha.
We're trying to figure it out, trying to go to that next level. So we got some things that we got to do to figure that out. But I just thought that we needed to recognize these local high school teams. Coach Simmons and his staff tapped into them. And we told you before the season started about Marcus Riley. we told you he was an impact player. And on cue, first kickoff, first play of the season, he returned it for a touchdown. You know, Kamari Young. I mean, we had some guys that really stood out. Javon Morgan signed with us out of high school. He didn't go somewhere else and come back. He signed with us out of high school. He comes from a real solid family over at Florida High. He had a little sister that was the junk over there at Florida High. And she's having an excellent basketball career. His family follows us and supports us. They both, mom and dad, all of them, the family follows INSiiGHTS. And we respect that a lot of the kids and the families follow us. We've been with them since they were high school. We got a young man, Trey Card, on Florida High basketball team. And I saw him after a game. I said, man, we've been covering you a long time. He said, Coach, I watched the games when you had me in AAU basketball. I said, you remember that, Trey? He said, oh, yeah, he was a little tall, skinny kid. And now, man, he looked like a defensive end. You know, so these student athletes and their families, I want you to know that we appreciate you. Hit the like button, follow us, send a text. I mean, we did the Capital City Classic. We did 7 games, and at last look, we probably had right at 2,000 people that have hit each one of those games combined. So, and the kids are sending them to family members, sending them to coaches, and that's what we do it for. You know, for that. You know, so as you said, we started with high school, and now I got something I need to show you. Somebody sent this to me. We're talking about the high school athletes, and I know for a fact certain colleges.
All right. The judge just passed that all the kids that had to sit out this year are eligible to play for the remainder of the season. All right. So what that means for you, multiple time transfer is transfer from school A to school B, from school B to school C, multiple time transfer. All right. So what that means for you is the kid that was in the portal that we were nervous as college coaches was going to have to sit out is going to get taken this year. All right. So high school kids, JUCO kids, going to get the bad end of the stick. All right. Whether you think it's right or wrong, it's going to happen. It's happened before. It's going to happen to somebody decide, hey man, we just ain't going to go that route. Right. So this is going to impact you. So this is how you prepare. This is my stern advice. If you have Division II, if you have JUCO, if you have paid prep school opportunities, you need to take those. All right. Because your journey to D1 is going to be totally different than the people before you. All right. So don't let people put in your head like, oh man, you're going to get D1 late. Very slim chance you're going to get something late out of high school. Very slim. So I don't want y'all out here left with nothing. And y'all be in our DMs talking about, Coach, I just looking for an opportunity. Well, you got an opportunity now. You need to take it. All right. So don't be waiting around chasing this D1 dream. When you still can have it, it's just going to look different. Okay. Don't shoot the messenger. Be great today.
Transfer portal has done that.
I get asked that all the time. And it started with COVID. Because when COVID came, it gave everybody an extra year. So all the high school kids that were recruiting, where they had a specific number of student athletes they could give scholarships to, they were on hold because they kept those kids another year. So they were trying to put the high school students, encouraging them to go to prep school, JUCO, anywhere. Just they didn't have spots for them. Then as people hit the transfer portal, I know for a fact, colleges have told coaches they can only recruit a certain number of high school players, and they want their kids out of the transfer portal. You got any reasons, Rick, why you think they're encouraged to do that?
Yeah, they want them playing. They don't want them to go to another school, perhaps another D1. Unlikely, but they don't want that. And if they're playing, they're continuing to work on their skills, and then they can come and get them later, snatch them up later.
Well, one of the reasons that they want them out of the transfer portal is they're more mature. They're not 17, 18-year-old kids. They're more mature. Right. They kind of have an academic record in front of them to look at. They've adjusted to it, and instead of recruiting teenagers and investing in them, they're recruiting young men to come in and bring them an opportunity to play. Now, the significance of what they just did is they're now allowing people to transfer through the portal to school 2, school 3, as he said, multiple time transfers. Okay, let me give you an example. A multiple time transfer was Marcus Riley. But the only reason he was eligible to play at FloridaA&M was he graduated from Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
So that was always the thing. You know, he had to graduate, accelerate the academic table so that he would be on time and he could come in as a grad student. So that was the only way. But now you could be in at least 3 different institutions in 3 different years. So those of you who are listening, and I get asked this covering high school sports all the time by parents and by student athletes. This is something that you need to pay attention to. And he's saying if you have a D2 JUCO or a paid for prep school opportunity, take it. Don't wait. Don't wait. Because those opportunities just got extremely limited. And people are now jumping on those kids that are 2nd and 3rd time transfers.
Yeah, we always said, and we've said this before, that the transfer portal would hurt high school students, high school athletes, and it has for that reason. That coaches aren't putting their jobs on the line with a bunch of 18-year-olds who are just trying to figure out the game when they can have people that have a solid or a record that is not potential. You know what they have. So it sucks, but it's happening in all the sports. Football, basketball, all of them.
Well, as we try to bring you some information to keep you up to date, we had another one sent to us.
What we expected in the NI era was that athletes would be paid by a local business to promote their chicken sandwich, or even national chains like Dunkin' Donuts, or of course the good old-fashioned car deal, which has been around for a long time. What we got instead was NIL collectives paying athletes salaries, essentially. But how are they able to do that when the number one rule in the NCAA is you can't pay for play? Well, it's something called NIL collectives, and this is how they work. 80% of transactions in all of NIL are through collectives, so they're significant. They're founded by alumni and boosters who really want to see their team win, and they're set up as a company, and they're funded by fans who are willing to pay $5 to $100 a month to support their team, where they get access to exclusive content, interviews, autograph signings, and events. But they're really funded by big boosters and alumni who have a lot of money, and previously they would be people who built stadiums or buildings or athletic facilities. Now they can go directly to the players. So they put it into the players' pocket to make sure that they come to their school. But we talked about the number one rule in the NCAA. So they pay them to promote things like go to ice cream socials, do interviews, or autograph signings. All of those things are used to market to a fan base to try to raise some more money to put back into the pot so they can pay more players to come to their school. That's how it's done. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And I had the NLI, but it's the NIL. But did you see him talk about the people selling cars and did a wink eye? You would go sell a car, and your star quarterback would be working at the car dealership. He'd only have to work an hour for the week and sell 4 or 5 cars because all the boosters would go buy vehicles from him, and he made more money than the average salesman there. And so this NIL collective really gives you some more insight, if you didn't know, in terms of how these institutions put that money together to be able to get this money for these kids.
And instead of it being under the table, it's a little more above the table now, Coach.
Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. So, again, we're just trying to educate you, trying to get you aware of these situations. And if you have questions or anything, hit us up. Hit us up. Now, I would be remiss to say, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans, has gone deathly silent. As the Cleveland Browns are now in the playoff picture. Not even in the picture, but in the playoff, and have been in the picture for the last 3 weeks with a quarterback that the Jets had and didn't want and didn't call him. And when he signed with Cleveland, New York sports media was eating that move up, laughing at slow Joe Flacco and how you wouldn't be able to go with Flacco. Oh, it was a big joke. The laughing has ceased. The caravan has stopped. The carousel is no longer twirling. It's over with. It's over with.
So Cleveland is assured of having a better record than the Steelers this year, huh?
Absolutely. But you don't hear from Creedale Wingate. You don't hear from Creedale Wingate. The only person that can get on and talk is Kevin with the Browns and Todd Lampley with your favorite team. Now, there's also something that AI has allowed us to do that we're working with. And we have a couple things here because we want to stay with the tradition. The more certain people say you can't do things, you have to find other ways to educate.
On January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring all slaves in Confederate-held territory to be forever free. The Emancipation Proclamation declared that all slaves in Confederate-held territory were to be forever free. While it did not immediately free all enslaved individuals, it marked a crucial legal step toward the eventual abolition of slavery in the United States. The Emancipation Proclamation was a watershed moment that signaled a commitment to the abolition of slavery, altered the course of the Civil War, and laid the groundwork for the broader struggle for civil rights and equality for Black people in the United States. This is a Black history moment for January 1st from 1863.
One of the early and prominent campaigns of the NAACP was its fight against lynching. The organization worked tirelessly to bring attention to the brutal and unjust practice of lynching and advocated for federal anti-lynching legislation. Although federal legislation was not immediately successful, the NAACP's efforts brought greater awareness to this issue. The NAACP-led Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, a coalition of civil rights organizations, spearheaded the drive to win passage of the major civil rights legislation of the era: the Civil Rights Act of 1957, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the Fair Housing Act of 1968.
Like us on Facebook.
I liked it on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter. INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
I appreciate it, Coach, and of course, I always thank INSiiGHTS for covering high school sports. You all kind of open that door for high school sports to be viewed by those on the outside. And I know football is doing more now. I mean, I think one of the stations are doing high school football. But you guys are the ones that kind of help open that door for high school basketball to be shown. I know you've been doing it for some time, but we appreciate your support.
Too smooth, Charlie. Too smooth.
Too smooth. Thank you for that shout out. Thank you, Rick, for the suggestion that we put that in a clip for a promo for us. But we want to keep that Black History thing going. It's on our INSiiGHTS Roku. It has its own, like we have the Netflix, and we got different things you can go to, and it has like Faith TV, and it has the Black History moments, and we try to make sure that we keep up with that. And now that we're trying to figure out AI a little bit, we're able to make it a little bit more creatively. So it's really, really kind of interesting to just continue to grow, and we never get bored because we keep continuing to try to grow with it.
Learning and growing.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
And like that hat, Rick.
Thank you, sir. I like your hat too. But well, you know, I don't think the people really saw. Let me get it up a little bit. Let me get up a little bit and
Mick and Rick.
Yes.
Mick and Rick. There you go, Rick. There you go, Rick. And what's the hat say? Mick and Rick. There you go. Man, I appreciate you as we start in the year 11 now. We celebrated our 10 years, but we got celebrations coming up. So we trying to make sure we celebrate and recognize.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We got a big one coming up, folks.
Yes.
Someone may be taking video of that. We'll keep you posted on that.
Coming up next week. Next month, about 6 weeks from now. So yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can't
tune
wait.
in, ladies and gentlemen. We got games tomorrow, games Friday, games Saturday. We got high school games, so we're back in the saddle again. We have some very interesting guests coming on board. We try to stay ahead of the curve and set the curve. So one of the things that we try not to do is to be in a situation where we try to go negatively down a certain road. We try not to do stuff for clickbait and information that we may have that we're not trying to really divulge, because that's not positive in any situation. Florida State has learned from the situation that they were in, and they're going to use that as they move forward as a tool for those guys going in the next season. And our football program is going to be okay. We have an interim coach in place. We have our recruiting coordinator on it. We got offensive linemen from Marshall coming in this weekend to visit. So we still have some things going and that are in place to allow us to be able to continue. So the interesting thing now will be what happens as the interviews take place. Some you'll know about, some we won't know about. I'm sure there's already been some that have taken place already. So it's very, very interesting to see what happens, and we will keep you informed with what we know.
That's right, because FAMU is not a bad program. As you said earlier, he's not leaving the program in the doldrums. Mm-hmm. He's leaving it when it's continuing to rise. So it is a very attractive program. And after this weekend, when the alumni raised over $138,000, that is going to catch some coaches' eyes too. And yeah, FAMU is going to be okay, folks. Trust and believe.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we had a coach that was with us, and now we say had a coach because he's gone, but he's a part of the pantheon of great coaches that have been at FloridaA&M. Mm-hmm. And we're not minimizing what he did, because he did a heck of a job and he brought us to where we are now. Mm-hmm. But it's that relay race, that's how medley race. Each person's distance is different. So the next person has to take that baton, and they have to go in the pantheon of great coaches all the way to Jake Gaither. So we've had them, and now we speak of Coach Willie Simmons in the same breath that we spoke with some of them. So we will move on, and the university will for sure be here long after us.
Trust and believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, for sure, we appreciate y'all, and especially for being with us. Starting the new year, we have more in 24. And that's what we do.
Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle, INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representation.
J5 is coming.
Oh,
J5 is coming. Watch out.
Oh, Sports Diva says bye. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week. Make sure you follow, subscribe to us. Hey, let your friends know. I see you, Stephanie Rozier. Happy New Year to you too. Longtime friend, FAMU, all the way through her heart. We appreciate y'all. This is INSiiGHTS. Mick and Rick, we're out.